Welcome to the American Ignorant, where you hear about events that the average American doesn't know happened. I'm your host, Gabe Butler, and today we're going to talk about the Tokyo subway sarin attack. A fair warning, this one's pretty dark, so listener discretion is advised. It's March 20th, 1995. You're taking the subway into Tokyo, Japan, to work for minimum wage and well into overtime to support both yourself and your grandparents. The subway is jam-packed with people. It is the busiest subway in the whole world, after all. Among the mass of people, you notice a man holding an umbrella. You think it's a bit odd, as it isn't a rainy day, but you don't think much more of it. At the next stop, the umbrella man gets off, and as the doors close, you realize he forgot his bag on the train. That's unfortunate for him. Odds are he's never seeing that bag again. You go back to minding your own business and begin dreading the piles of work you need to catch up on. To make matters worse, your nose starts to run. Just great, you've got a cold too. As long as you take things step by step, it'll be fine. You should probably start with that report your boss told you to get done by tomorrow. Feeling a little bit less overwhelmed, you start to notice a slight tightness in your chest. Your cold must be getting worse. You pray that it doesn't get too bad because you can't afford to miss work. But your chest is getting tighter, to the point that it's getting a bit difficult to breathe. Panic growing, you look around, hoping that nobody notices you. The last thing you need is to make a scene. But then you see you're not the only one wiping your nose or struggling to breathe. That would be normal for the subway if it weren't for the fact that it was every single passenger. Your breathing gets heavier as thoughts start running through your head. What's wrong? Is there a gas leak? It's impossible, we're on a moving train. You're starting to feel lightheaded and your body is telling you to run, but where to? You're confined in a train filled to the brim with people. Even if you could make it through the crowd, where would you go? With no answer to that question, you start squeezing through people. Your vision is getting blurry and breathing is getting harder than ever. You're being shoved around by all the passengers that also have no clue of what to do. Pushing through the crowd is getting more and more challenging, and so is thinking. You give one last push forward through the mob until darkness consumes you. As it turns out, the forgotten bag wasn't forgotten at all. The Umbrella Man was actually a member of the cult known as Om Shinrikyo, meaning Supreme Truth. He and 4 others left behind bags of liquid sarin, which they stabbed with their umbrella as they got off the train, all approximately at the same time. Sarin is the most volatile of nerve agents, meaning it evaporates extremely quickly. Sarin gas is colorless, odorless, and when inhaled has symptoms ranging from a tight chest to paralysis or even death. The sarin attack led to 12 deaths and over 5,500 injuries. Om Shinrikyo is a doomsday cult founded by Shoko Asahara. The attack was done with a goal of hindering current investigations into the cult, involving another sarin attack less than a year prior, and the death of a lawyer representing a family attempting to get their child out of the cult. While the goal was to hinder police, it actually backfired and led to a connection being drawn almost immediately. Asahara was arrested in May of the same year. With no leader, members of the cult were distraught and eventually admitted to the attack, even revealing that there was a failed attempt on March 15th. Approximately 200 members were arrested. After an 8-year trial, Shoko Asahara and 6 other senior members of Om Shinrikyo were sentenced to death. They were executed on July 6th of 2018. I told you it was a dark one. I actually found out about this one because of an anime I watched called Mawaru Penguin Drum. Researching this one, while dark, was very intriguing. I feel like you never really hear about bad things happening in Japan in the news, so it was interesting to learn about a darker side of the country. Anyways, make sure you tune in next week for a much more lighthearted story about the Polish bear that fought in World War II. I'm your host, Gabe Butler, and this is The American Ignorant.